So, Cher's song Half Breed had me thinking of this, where she's being discriminated by both sides of her family. And so, this video is going to be like a very old school style of analysis because we've reached we've succeeded these talking points. There's not really much reason to bring this up, but it's kind of my question in a way when it comes to like our interactions with each other. So, yeah, this is me responding to Snoop Dogg after realizing he only has 71% sub-Saharan African DNA, the rest 6%, and the other 23% Native American. He exclaimed, and quote, "We got to have a revote. This ain't right." He did this on a chat show comparing his darker skin to Charles Barkley, who is lighter yet has more sub-Saharan African DNA. This situation has always been real and polarizing, and what we see with colorism and ethnicity and what DNA shows, this is why we can't necessarily use color or DNA. But so many people do use the native DNA skews, especially when their skin is white. But should the white skin be the excuse for casting aside the native DNA? Like, would that appropriate the native DNA? Like, you know? This really depends on how you frame this. Do we assume lighter skin DNA on an intuitive black face means half-breed, or an awful moment of non-consent in our early American history, which only makes the concept of code switching more complicated. So the essentialism finds its way in our everyday life when it's blurred and we reach for the side we don't want the most shit from, or avoid people out of pure difference, thus being a natural reflex of colorism and categorization. Um, we do have quite a bit of non-consensually organic ancestors that obviously didn't ask for it or at all. Um, you know, History will tell us this, and there's no going back, fortunate and unfortunately. We often talk about not having a child when it's not a consent-based moment, for obvious good reasons, as I often talk about, if you know. But there's no aborting our deep connection along arbitrary lines, as cringy as that sounds. I do think some old school mixed hate for mixed heritage was regretting having the child down our human genome descendant. I often make the mistake of symbolically seeing Africa as black, which I'm pretty sure other people do. Um, but this is a mistake people can just make, since African has non-albino white people who live there. But honor along code-switching lines would just decompartmentalize a ambiguous person for the parts, not for the sum. And this is pretty much how we interact with each other. Like, if we didn't want to deal with them because of their light skin, we want to know what's inside of you that leads me to want to connect with you. Like, and it's not even about interests, but, coming together, which is very understandable. You know, Trust issues are rampant, and I get it. But, well, there really is no but.